Welcome to lesson 4.1, time to the half hour and quarter hour. The objective is to measure time in half hour and quarter hours. When you see the pencil, make sure to write it in your notes, pause, or watch again for better understanding. So, some important words and vocabulary to understand for this lesson. Make sure they get written down. A half hour is a unit of time that is equal to 30 minutes. A quarter hour is a unit of time equal to 15 minutes. AM, also known as intermedium, is the hours between midnight and noon, and PM, plus meridian, hours between noon and midnight. When you're reading a clock, so this is all about reading clocks, we think in terms of hours, minutes, and half hours and quarter hours. Some of the clocks will also show your seconds. I'll show you that here in a second, right here. What you see on the right, this clock that's just shown up, shows the tower, shows your time. Now you've got the hour hand, which is the shorthand right here. Oh my gosh, I can't even tell. I went over it in blue. It's a shorthand. That tells us the hour. So this is between 11 and 12, which means that the hour would be at 11. Actually, I should hold up for a minute because I'm going to show you in just a second. And then you've got the long hand over here showing the minutes. I'm going to run it in orange as best I can. This red one right here, that is your second hand. So that will constantly be moving when you see it on a clock. Usually the analog clocks. It will continue to move constantly, so you will go through this. This clock, because I know that that is at 11, and this one, the minute hand is at the 8. What I know already is that it is 11:40, because with each of these jumps that I'm doing, you can see those are 5-minute jumps. You'll learn more about this in the next one. However, just to give you a sneak peek into that, after counting through all the way to the 8, we know that this is 5, 4, 11:40. So this clock is showing you 11:40. Some important facts for you to note. These clocks are used to help us measure days and time. And one day is 24 hours. In 1 hour, you have 60 minutes. So all of these tiny little dashes, all of those will add up to 60 minutes. Between the 12 and the 1, that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is at the 1. That is why I just skipped count by 5. Within 1 minute, there are 60 seconds. That's why this goes around. It takes 60 seconds. 1 quarter hour is 15 minutes. 1 half hour is 30 minutes. So you will see that a quarter hour is 15 minutes. So this would be a quarter hour. Whereas this would be a half hour because it is 30 minutes. Now, an example of showing the time, there are 3 different ways that you can show the time. This picture is going to show you 3 different ways, and I will explain them. The first way is through an analog clock. So showing it on a clock like this. This clock right here is just a little bit after the 10 into the 30, so I know that this is 10:30. That is way number 1. The second way is the digital, or the way you would write it. I'm going to call it 2 right here and 2 right here. This will be the way that you write it with the 10:30. You need to use that colon. 10:30. Make sure that this is there, otherwise we won't know what you're talking about because then it looks like this. And who knows, or if you put it in the wrong spot, that doesn't make any sense. That's a ratio. That is not what we are doing here. You want to make sure that it's in the correct spot, otherwise it will be incorrect and nobody knows what you're talking about. The third way is to write it in words. Write it the way that you would say it, which is right here. 10:30 or 10:30. Both of these are correct. Same thing here. You've got an analog clock showing 1:15, a little bit past the 1. Minute hand is on the 15. 1:15 on your digital. You can say 1:15 or 15 minutes after 1 or quarter past 1. This is important to note. What you would write would be down here. Same thing here. We've got another one, 3:45. Say 3:45, 15 minutes to 4, because you've got 15 minutes, and then it will be 4, or quarter to 4. 3:45 written down on the bottom. The 3 different ways. Please keep that in mind. It will be. What you are going to do is pause the video and use what you know to answer these 2 questions. This bottom one goes based off of what we just did on the last slide. The first one goes based off of your notes and your common sense. Pause the video real quick so that you can do that. Alright, so would the leopard show more likely begin at 11:45 a.m. or 11:45 p.m.? Well, 11:45 a.m. is during the night. Most likely, we're going to show this at 3:45 p.m. so people can see it, because that is in the afternoon, after 12 o'clock. You gotta go back to your notes to figure that one out, but common sense. You would be able to watch it here. You would not watch it here. That's not a good time for it. Writing this, showing it 3 different ways. Well, we've got one here. Here's one way. 7:45. I could write it that way, but because it's already there, we need 2 other ways. Because that way was already in the video, what we decided to do is we wrote it 2 different ways. Here's one. I could say 7:45, or 2. I could say 7:45, or 3. I could show it on an analog clock. That does take a little bit of time, but I could show it on an analog clock, and that's about right. To review everything that you have just done, there are different ways to measure time, and you need to make sure that you understand which one is which. The amount of time within each of these different time periods, time measurements is different. They should also become memorized. So please make sure that you understand this and get that concept in your mind. There are also 3 different ways that you can show or write time: analog, digital, and word form. Making sure that you know that there are different ways to say each time. Make sure that you check your notes with the master copy, show the teacher, and then get your practice page.